Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be telling you exactly how to stop an external sounder or an external siren from randomly going off, causing you a nightmare. Maybe it's early morning, you're just trying to make the thing shut up. And then I'm going to be showing you, if you want to know, how to diagnose the faults, find exactly what's going on and what the solution for that would be. Even if you're not planning to actually do the work to fix it yourself after you've stopped the alarm going off, it's still worth watching so that you know exactly what it is the engineer is going to be coming out to do, so you're more informed about exactly what needs to happen. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit here and then give you a practical demonstration. Look, I know external sounders can be a nightmare when they're just going off randomly. You had no idea, the system may not have even been set, and your external sounder is going off and you can't stop it and you're worrying about the neighbours. I understand. Sometimes you think that fucking thing is so annoying, but you know, give it some credit. It's been outside, it's an electrical item. It may have lasted 10, 20, 30, even 40 years, giving you no problems, and then all of a sudden it goes off. It's done all right. But now you're in a position, you want it to shut up and you want to get it sorted. What you'll need to make it shut up, just a terminal screwdriver. What you'll need for the further investigation work, terminal screwdriver, pair of snips will be handy, and a multimeter. And just a quick one before we get started, guys, if you're thinking about upgrading your security, maybe it's a bit old and dated and you're having problems with it now, I do have a DIY wireless security system that is all smart app controlled. That is my own, called the Godfather security system. I will leave the link for the waiting list in the bio. We're launching in mid-June 2025. If you do sign up, you get an exclusive discount code. If it's after that point, I'll leave the website link in the bio because hopefully we should have launched. Now let's get straight to it. Okay guys, to begin, I'm just going to show you how to shut the thing up. If that's all you want for the moment, just to make it be quiet, let's get straight to that first. So, open up your panel. The tamper alarm will go off when you do that. So when you do it, pop your code in to shut it up. Then I always advise just moving the backup battery out the way. Just gives you a little bit more room to work. Now inside the panel, now we're using a Veritas 8 system here, but they're all very similar when it comes to their bell wiring setup. You will see some terminals and they'll be labelled up things like plus 12 volts, bell, or that might say S negative, tamp 0 volts, or that might say hold off, and STRB, which is strobe. Identify those terminals and they will have a cable going to them. You've now identified the external sounder cable. Very first test, give the leads a little pull. Just make sure there's nothing that's loose in there, okay? Because that could be causing your problem. So if you just want to shut the thing up at first, what you'll need to do is get a terminal screwdriver, locate the plus 12 volts, unscrew the terminal, remove that leg, okay? Now, when you do that, if your sounder is relatively modern, and it's still, I'm talking about, it could still be 15, 20 years old and still have a working SAB battery, then your external sounder is going to trigger from 15 to 20 minutes. The SAB battery is a backup battery that's inside the sounder unit. It does have a special purpose and it's there so that someone can't cut the power to your alarm and then the alarm system doesn't work. If someone tried to cut the power to your sounder, it would go off with its external backup battery. This is annoying, but if you don't know and it's triggering, you might go, oh my God, something's wrong and it's not gonna stop. It's gonna last for 15 to 20 minutes on its backup battery, but then it will shut up and you've made your system be quiet, at least on the outside, which is a lot of the time all someone wants to do before getting an engineer out. You know, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, oh God, drive you insane. If you want to start doing some investigating, if you want to find out what the fault is yourself so you can fix it, well, there's a couple of things we're going to have to check. We're going to have to check resistances and voltages, and we're going to have to check if the cable is okay itself. There's no point putting a new sounder up if the fault is the cable, because this problem's just going to happen again. Now, if you've had no building work done, if you haven't had anyone running about and moving boxes in a loft or anything like that at all, the likelihood is it's going to be an external sounder fault, especially if the sounder is kind of 15 years old onwards. It's unlikely you're just going to get a random cable fault. But don't forget, people like carpet fitters could have damaged the cable, workmen of any kind, someone in the loft. Have a real think to if you can think of anything that's happened in the very recent times where that may have been an issue. So let's begin with the testing to see if we can diagnose the fault. Put all leads back into the terminals just as they were and get your multimeter. Where's mine? Now the very first test you're going to want to do to make sure you haven't got a panel issue itself is turn it to DC voltage. This is very unlikely, by the way, but just check it just in case. DC voltage, and put your multimeter, one lead across the plus 12 volts and the other lead across 0 volts, sometimes also referred to as hold off. We have 13.35 volts, so I know that's absolutely spot on and we've got no problems there. The next test you're going to want to do across DC voltage again is the plus 12 volts to tamp, T-A-M-P, the tamper circuit. So you're going to put one lead across the plus 12 volts and one lead across the tamper, and you should get 13.36 volts. So I know that that tamper circuit at the moment is functioning correctly. There's no problem there, and that's what you should get too. Now, if you get a voltage of no volts or a voltage that's jumping around, you know, maybe it's going 5, 7, 6 and jumping around, you've got a tamper issue on the sounder. If it's an old sounder, it's most likely going to be an actual sounder unit fault and you're going to have to replace the sounder, which I've got a video for, by the way, so I'll link that in the description. But if it's quite a new sounder, you could have a cable fault. Another test for us to do. We want to really narrow it down and get as much information as possible. For this test, you're going to need to cut the power off to your panel. Now you can do this by removing the battery and say taking the fuse out just there. So let's do that. Now get your terminal screwdriver and unscrew 0 volts and unscrew the terminal that says Bell. It may also say S negative, that's often what it's referred to, or it could also say trigger. So the sounder negative can also be called Bell, S minus, or trig, or trigger. Remove both those leads from the terminals and turn your multimeter to a resistance check. Now, all being well, if we haven't got a cable fault on here, we should see a very low resistance. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but we're seeing a distance jump around and it's not giving us a solid resistance reading across those two terminal legs. So I know across that circuit, there is a fault. Now, again, it's going to be a sounder fault itself or a wiring fault. 9 times out of 10, guys, it's a sounder fault, the unit outside. Think about it as a unit. It's outside 24/7, working away with electrics in it, getting baked by the sun. It is going to fail, but we've got to make sure. And that's why the next bit means what you'll need to do, take the legs out of the terminal blocks and joint the cables together. The best way to do it is put the red and black together, put the blue and yellow together, and put the green and white together. Then you're going to want to go out to the sounder, get some ladders up to the sounder, open up the lid, wear ear defenders. Oh my God, please, if you do anything, wear ear defenders because it's so dangerous for your ears. You can burst your eardrums. And then you'll need to take all the legs out of the sounder terminals and test them on a continuity check on your multimeter with a resistance reading, and you're going to see what resistance you get. And hopefully, if you get very low resistance and you're getting continuity, so with that sound, then you know you haven't got a cable fault. If you're getting high resistance and you're getting sporadic continuity where maybe it's going like that, then you've got a cable fault. The likelihood is you haven't, but it's worth checking because if you're going to do a job, you may as well do it right, and then you're not going to be dealing with this down the road at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday when you're up at 5. When you're confident you have diagnosed the problem between whether it's a sounder fault or whether it's a wiring fault, you can then take the next steps either by rewiring it, getting an engineer to rewire it, replacing the sounder, or getting an engineer to replace the sounder for you. In the meantime, it's very possible that you might have this fault and you go, you know what, I just can't afford the sounder at the moment. I don't want to put a new one up. I don't want to get an engineer out to do it, but I do want to use my alarm for the time being. Absolutely fine. The external sounder won't work if you remove the power to it, which I recommend if you've got a sounder fault because you're not going to want it to be having these same problems. But if you get a link, and when I say a link, I just mean a bit of cable, and you put a link between tamp and 0 volts, take everything else out and just put a link between tamp and 0 volts, you will short out the tamper circuit. Your system will think there's no tamper fault on the alarm, and you can close it all back up and you can use the panel for the meantime as normal, and at least you've got an internal alarm in case anyone was to ever break in or anything like that. It'll bypass the tamper and allow you to use it for the meantime. Okay guys, hopefully that should have fixed your problem or whatever problem it is you were having with the external sounder. I've shown you how to just make it be quiet if that's all you were after. I've shown you how to investigate the fault if you want to go a little bit deeper and see exactly what's going on. and I've shown you how to make it so your alarm is usable in the meantime, even if the sounder is not connected up. I do have another video where I show you exactly how to install an external sounder, so if you are going to replace it yourself, you can follow that video and it'll show you step by step exactly what to do, and I'll link it at the end of this video. Don't forget the Godfather security system link is in the bio if you're interested. Here's the video for the external sounder installation. See you in the next one.